So I'm recording a video for an importance of public history, a location in public history, specifically America, for a class. I chose the battlefield of Yorktown. So with the battlefield of Yorktown, 1781 is when this battle occurred in the war between the 13 colonies, soon to be called America, and the British. This location ended that war. The battle on this location, ended that war and perceived to allow America to go its own ways, and for the British to go its own ways. Now, I think there's two takeaways, and probably more than that, two takeaways from this battle. One is that America, became America. The war it led to the peace treaty I think it's the Treaty of Paris, I believe it's called. Later on, I think it's 1783, where they had peace, and this also led up to, America being recognized as its own nation and everything else, because, they kind of claimed that land, and they defended it, if you'd say. But also, for the British, it was probably a smart idea to leave that war. Now, it is necessarily not that good that they lost the controls of 13 colonies, brought in a lot of people, right? Definitely a lot of money, because they had taxes and everything else. But in that war itself, long war, I believe it was at least 7 years. I'm pretty sure it was longer than that, actually. It was harsh on America, for George Washington and their army and everything else. But it was also harsh on British because they had multiple wars. And even though them being a very big country, very powerful, especially at that time, it's pulling a lot of resources and that they didn't have. Then that's why I decided to cease fire and do the peace treaty and everything else. That land, the battlefield of Yorktown, is preserved very well. It's a park now. It's beautiful. Definitely a lot of nature, trees, bushes, anything you can think of, flowers, all that stuff is kept well past to run, bike. I think there's even fishing, or there is fishing and other stuff like that. It's great. It's very well preserved, and it's also teaching its lesson, as whether you're there reading about it, wherever it is, it's always teaching a lesson about that, more specifically about American history. And it would be a great field trip for family or students, either or, because it's like it kind of gives that understanding of how in depth and how much malice was built between British and the 13 colonies at the time, especially if you read really into depth about the war and how many men died and how it played out. There's definitely some hard fought actions in there, but it's great for teaching about American history and really how America became to be where it is, because I couldn't say for certain that America would be America, its own nation, if they didn't succeed in that battle. It was pretty much the most important battle out of all of them. Significantly, the fact that they won and kind of swayed Britain's mind to move outwards of that war. But yeah, recap, I chose Yorktown, great place for teaching about American history and the change which allowed at 1781 is when it happened, allowed America to become a nation, and British went elsewhere. Great place to go, well preserved, pretty, awesome, all that. All right.